Okay, so let's take a look at our next type of transformation, and that's called a translation. So a translation is a vertical and or, meaning we can do more than one, slide. It's where I take my shape. It's going to stay the same direction, same position. It's just going to move left, right, up, or down. Okay, so the algebraic form is if I take my ordered pair and I'm either adding or subtracting to x or adding or subtracting to y. The h and k just represents the shift. So h represents the direction I'm going left to right, and k represents the direction I'm going up or down. But what you need to remember when I do a translation, what results is congruent polygons, okay? When I finish this, my polygon will be the same. It's just sitting in a different position on my graph. So let's see what that looks like, okay? We're always going to graph our pre-image, okay? So if I graph point A, I'm going to go left 6, up 4, and label it. Then I'm going to go right 4, up 1. There's my B. Finally, left 7, down 1 is my C. We connected in alphabetical order. Remember that? Okay, so now I have to know. I've got my symbolic form. It's going to tell me my shift, or my slide, I should say. So let's take a look. A positive number, meaning if I'm adding, it's going to move it right or up. A negative moves it left or down. Okay, so x's are always left to right, y's are always up or down. So if I look here, it says x plus 3. That means every single point I'm going to move right 3 because it was a plus. And then my y says plus 2. So that means I'm going to move it up 2. So if I took my x point and I moved it right 3, I'm adding 3 to my x, that gives me negative 3, and I'm adding 2 to my y, that gives me 6. So if you notice what I did here, okay, I took this point and I moved over 3. I took my x value was negative 6, and I added 3. That ends up with a negative 3. So that's the x there. Then I went up 2, meaning I took my y value and added 2, which now gives me 6. Okay? And I'm going to do that with each point. Everywhere I go, I'm going right 3, up 2. So you can do it by counting on your graph, or you could do the adding like I did to give you these ordered pairs. And then B, look at my B. My B was originally a 4. Well, if I add 3 to 4, I get my 7. Okay? So that's where these numbers are coming from. You can count on your graph. And I know some of you prefer that method, and that's fine. Okay? But then you do to the x and the y. And then finally my C value was negative 4, 1. So let's go look what happens when I'm subtracting. So we're still going to plot my original points, okay? And we're going to connect them. So I want to show you this one a little differently. Let's look here. Okay, let's go. We're going to go green. If I take my K ordered pair here, right? This is the one I'm looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen. So if I take this point, it's right now 1, 3. Well, if I want to generate my K prime, this is what I'm working on right now. It says to take your x value, which is 1, and subtract 8, meaning move left 8. And then it says to take my y value and subtract 7, which just means move down 7. So I'm going to show you the mathematical way. Well, 1 minus 8 would give me a negative 7, and 3 minus 7 gives me a negative 4. So if I were to go plot that from here, I would, right here, I'm going to go left 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But then I have to go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where my K prime will sit. But ladies and gentlemen, do you see what I have there with this counting here? This should not be there. You're just moving your K value. Okay? So let's take a look at that, and let's try that then with another value. Let's go do my L. My L right now is 2, 7. And you could use a calculator. Okay? So if I take my 2 and subtract 8, I get negative 6. If I take my 7 and subtract 7, I get 0. Let's do this. So we're going to L. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I'm going to go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's my L prime. Okay, so there's so many ways to do this, but you can do it whichever way you want. I'm going to show you another way, okay? I can take M, and I'm going to move left first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? You don't count it until you've moved to the next line. And then I still have to go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here is my M prime, okay? That ordered pair would be a negative 1, and I count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you did the math, okay, the math here has you doing 7 minus 8, which is negative 1, and 2 minus 7, which is negative 5, and that gave me M prime. Then our last one here that we would have to do and solve, let's do it where we count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here's what I advise. Erase those. Don't have these markings because it's going to make your paper a tad bit confusing. So we're here at 8. Then I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm down here at N prime. I connect my shape. And if you're doing it by counting, you got to go back and find your ordered pair. Okay? So this one ends up being negative 5, negative 6. Okay? So let's do one more together. Okay? Because this one is a little different. So please jump to number 6 because I want you to notice something here. Take a look. Okay? It's very important that you see the Y doesn't have any change. And that's okay. You might not always get a move. It might just be left, right, up, down. So we need to first plot my ordered pairs. Okay? So let's plot G. I'm going to go left 7, up 5, and put a G. This is my pre-image I'm making. Then I'm going to go left 4 and down 2. Finally, I'm going to go left 8 and down 1. I have now graphed, or sketched, I should say, my pre-image, okay? So now we need to do this transformation. I like this because I'm really only going to affect the X value, meaning I'm just going to slide it right. So if all I'm doing is sliding it right, okay, let's see where it would go. I'm going to go from this point, I'm going to go right 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to write my G prime. I didn't move up or down because there was no change on the Y. So from H, I'm just going to take this point and move it right 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to give me H prime. And then finally this point has to also go right 6 places. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do I know to go right? Remember what we said. A plus means right, a minus means left. So you need to write that in again. A plus means move right. A minus, move left. Okay, this is when it's being added or subtracted to X. Okay, I'm going to shift colors here. When I'm adding or subtracting to Y, the plus means move up, and the minus means move down. Okay? So we still need to state what my ordered pairs are. So G is going to be -1, 5. Remember, I didn't move up or down, so my Y's are going to be the same. H is at 2, -2. I is at -2, -1. Your Y's should all stay the same, and they do. Okay? So I want you to try these on your own. If you don't have any work, if you don't have the pre-image graph and the image graph, you will not receive credit for the homework. Okay, so someone pointed out today that it looks a little different in the lesson and in iReady, and it's just applying it sometimes. Like, take an example here. So I've taught you what translation means, but now I'm actually going to write the general rule. Remember, the rule looks like this, where I have an ordered pair, whatever it is, okay, and then I'm going to take the X, do something to it, take the Y, and do something. So one way of looking at this is if I started at P, okay, you got to look at where you're starting and where you're ending. How do I know where I'm starting and where I'm ending? Well, your letter is where you start, and then your letter prime is where you end. So I know that I took my P and I went in this direction. How many spaces did I go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I went to the right 9. I moved, my whole shape has moved right 9, meaning I need to take my X and add 9. There's my rule. Okay, let's go see something else. I went from this level of the P and it came down here. So I'm moving down, but how many am I going down? 1, 2, 3. I went down 3 spaces, so that means I'm going to subtract 3. And there's your rule. Because if you've done it with one point, you've basically done it with them all. Okay? And the last thing you might see is when we take these two and put them together. So you might want to first reflect something and then translate it. I'm going to show you, okay, what this might look like algebraically. So let's take a look. If I have S -5, 5, okay? So -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here is my S point, okay? If I reflect that in the x, it means that S prime, my x stays, but my y changes, remember? But after I've done that, I then have to add 4 to the x and add 3 to the y, which means my S prime is really -1, -2. Guys, you can use a calculator. That is okay. So let's go plot S prime. It would be -1, -2. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that you do these reflections in the order that they are given. Okay? Let's go check out and try another one. So look how I'm doing this algebraically. I'm doing it with you. Okay? Let's actually write in, we said that it was -1, -2. Okay, so let's go do our next one. If I plotted t, that is 1, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so here is my t point. Well, let's first, remember, I'm reflecting again over the x, meaning my x point stays, my y changes. But then I have to add 4 to my x and add 3 to my y. So I end up with t prime being 5, -4. Does everyone see how I'm getting this? So let's go plot this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is my t prime. Let's go do another one. So this time, let's plot down my u point. Let's go look at u. So my u is 0, 1. Here is my u. When I do u prime over the x, my x stays, my y changes. But then I have to add 4 and add 3. 0 plus 4 is 4. -1 plus 3 is 2. So my u prime is really at 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay. Remember, I'm reflecting this, so it should be moved and flipped. Okay, let's go do z. Z right now is -4, 2. So let's put z. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So here is my z, which this completes my quadrilateral. Remember, all we know is it's a 4-sided shape. If I reflect it first, my x stays, my y changes. Then I'm going to add 4 and add 3. I end up with z prime being 0, 1. So I go 0. Now it's okay, guys. This is what people were getting stuck on. It's okay to have a point on another point. So I end up with z prime right on where u was. But that is okay. All right? So all I did was I reflected it. Okay? So my shape got reflected and then moved. So let's go back and write in our points. Okay, so there is a step. So while this is easy, it's taking your time and making sure you're getting it. So please take your time. Please ask. If there's something you don't understand, go back, rewind, and ask for help.